Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? This is author Coach Keandria Ragland. I hope you all have had an awesome day, a beautiful day. We have another new author in the house this week. And so she's Purposeke Community. I would like for you to welcome the new author, and you know how we like to do it. We like to say congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. Whoop, 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 whoop. We celebrate you. We congratulate you. And I know with the book, it's you and several other people. So again, we congratulate you. We congratulate the other authors that have written the book that we're going to talk about today. It's a very needed book and discussion. So first, let me let you know that if you are an author and you have a new book release, you're a new author, new book release, anthology, I am accepting new authors for August. I won't be doing any. I probably have another one or two coming up. However, I'll be taking a little vacation after the event, the fourth annual The Power Moves Her. If you are unaware of the fourth annual of The Power Moves Her, we still have tickets at shespurposekey.com. Summit registrations. We have vendors on this is June 26th, 27th in Lawrenceville, Georgia. We are full with the vendors, so prepare yourself to come out and shop. If you are in the Georgia area, come and support the vendors. Again, we have seats for the summit. The summit is for Saturday. It's a paid day. Friday is free, open to the public, starting at 6:30 to 9:30. Okay, and Saturday is paid. It includes the continental breakfast, the workout sessions, and the continental breakfast, and the gift giveaways. So you have to purchase your tickets. They are $45. If you are on Eventbrite, there is a 2-for-1 special. So check that out. Okay, and so we're gonna get to the new author today. Come on in, and let the people know who you are.
Hello, thank you. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Malveaux-Hudson. Um, just a little bit about me. I am an educator, a counselor, and an author, and I'm an advocate for children and families. I have more than 25 years of experience working with children, adolescents, and their families, and in both an educational and a counseling setting. Really throughout my career, I have been very passionate about helping young people recognize their strengths, overcome challenges, build confidence in who they are. And as an author, my goal is to create stories and to educate, encourage, and empower children while providing parents and educators the tools to understand and to support the kids and the young youth that they come in contact with.
Awesome, awesome. And so, do you have a copy of the book?
Not with me right now. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm
no
not in
problem. I always,
the
I always
yes.
like to ask. I always like to
Yes.
ask just because you want to, you know,
Yes.
show it off. But we will
Yes.
pull it up on Amazon,
Yes.
so no
Uh-huh.
worries. That way, people can have
Okay.
a visual of what the book
Hmm.
looks like. And so, when did is this your first book as an author?
Yes, it's my first book as an author.
Okay, so when was it written?
It was written, we worked on the book last year. We did it from a research perspective, and we were able to get the book published late fall, like October timeframe.
Okay, awesome. Well,
Mhm.
congratulations again. And so, when it comes to your mission,
Mhm.
if you had a mission that you stand on each and every day to keep
Yes,
you
yes.
motivated, to keep you leading, and everything that you're doing today, what would that mission statement be?
Well, I my approach is the whole child. As you know, I am a counselor and an educator. I personally think that when we're supporting young people, um, the ages of whether they're in kindergarten, whether they're young adults, I think the mental health is important. But however, I think the whole child is important. So I like to look at the whole child. I am there to support children, young adults with their mental health, but I'm also there to support them. Once we stabilize you, then how are we going to move you to your next? And I think that without having the whole child in a stabilization state, and then we're going to start moving towards what are your goals, what is your careers, how that look like for you, and what can I do to support you to get there. I think that the whole child is so important, is that once we've stabilized the child and we've supported them through their mental health challenges, I think that now we have to stabilize you in your how you're going to take care of yourself, how you're going to care for yourself, not just the mental part, but also the financial part. And I think without the two together, then we're going to continue in this cycle of mental health issues. My favorite theorist is Maslow, just their basic needs. We have to be able to support people with their basic needs. And if we can't support them with their basic needs, then they're going to continue this cycle of mental health. So that's my total mission statement. I'm going to meet the child where they're at and their families and provide support for them. I'm going to advocate for them. But the goal is I want you to be in a place where you can take care of yourself, both mental health wise and also financially.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, what is the name of the book
The
that
name
was
of the
published?
book, yes, Jalen's Amazing Story, Jalen Amazing Super Fast Brain.
Awesome. So, what led you and the other authors to come up with that title?
Okay, I have a lived experience. The book really features not only ADHD but ODD. And from my lived experience, I am a mom. I'm a single mom with three boys, and I can testify that I have two of my own children that was faced with struggles of ADHD and ODD, and how the school system, the support they received and how they felt among their peers, especially from the ADHD's perspective. So it comes from a lived experience. I was asked to work on this project with two other professors within my department, and I was asked to take the lead on the research part, mainly because of my lived experience. And I was able to share that and also provide the resources. At the end of the book, there's a host of resources that parents can refer to. And I do that from my experience. My oldest son, we first discovered that he had struggles with ADHD in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, um, diagnosis, doctors don't like to diagnose early. And then, of course, my son, obviously African American male. But I love to use this story too when we're talking about diagnosis and labeling,
Mm-hmm.
um, and not wanting to shy away from that. We sometimes the student could label themselves
Mm-hmm.
if they don't have the support, if they don't have the medication, they don't have the right type of support in the school system. And so that was my main concern. I didn't want him to label himself among his peers. So it was very important for me to.
You froze up.
Okay, I'm back. Am I here
Okay.
now? Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Okay,
So
yes.
you,
So that
yeah.
that that's my lived. It was mainly my lived experience.
Okay, your lived experience. Okay. And so you talked a little bit about age, and they don't like to diagnose,
Mhm,
at
mhm,
certain ages. So at what age are they diagnosed? Or what well, I'll ask this way. First of all,
mhm,
at what age do you begin to like notice those symptoms to the point where you would like for the child to be evaluated? And,
mhm.
and from that point, at what time does it take for them to actually diagnose?
Yes. Well, and both of my experiences are very uniquely different with both of my children. Um, my oldest son, it was a lot of crying all the time, not staying on task. And so in school. And if you're not staying on task in school, it's impacting his learning.
Right.
right? So, yes, he was young at the time, and most people like to diagnose at a later age. But from my experience, my lived experience, and for my son, I saw how his ADHD at the time didn't know it was ADHD, right? Until we went through the diagnosis of it. But I saw how it was impacting him academically. And I wanted him to be successful. And he is. Today he's a junior in college. He's starting his third year. He's on task. He plans to be a counselor one day. He's working on all of that. I did not want to delay his success. My second child was different. You know, he is both ADHD and ODD, but his situation was different. He was the kid that went to school every day, sat in class, got the work done really, really fast, and then he was bored. Okay, he was bored.
Mm,
Um, was able to do the work, score high in math and science, was able to do the work, but then because of he was done with his work real fast, then he became disruptive in the classroom.
mm,
And for him, his experience, I waited on him. So, like I said, it's different. It's different for him because, and my take with him was that when you're making all A's in school, we're in Texas, you're passing the STAR test, okay? But as he got into middle school, I saw where, yes, we need to check this out. Even though he's making high grades, he's excelling on STAR tests, but he still have not grown out of, now I'm being a little disruptive in school. And for him, I feel like waiting for him, I missed out on some gifted and talented opportunities for him. Because had I tested him earlier,
mhm.
basically he was gifted and talented and he would have been put more into STEM programs. So it's different from every child is different. I can't say every diagnosis, every path is the same, but as a parent and as an educator, we have to look at the whole child and meet
Right.
that child with what their need where their needs are.
Right. And so for those who may have heard of ADHD or ODD, can you explain the difference in the two?
Yes. My oldest son, and I want to say ADD could look different. ADD look different in everyone. Okay.
Okay.
So for my oldest child, we have these conversations now. And he basically said for him, ADHD in his head is like a messy room.
Mm,
Okay. He's trying to keep it all organized, and he's thinking really fast. And I remember for him, it was hard for him to go to sleep at night because he couldn't calm down because his brain is always racing, which is part of what the story talks about. Okay. For ADD, it's more or less like a little defiant. I'm not going to sit still now. I'm going to do what I want to do. Okay. And
mm,
so, not wanting to follow the rules, the norms, not following the norms of the rules. I'm done with my schoolwork. So, I've done my work. I passed all my work. So, I get to do what I want to do. So,
mm.
but it's different. It's different. Um, my son with the ODD, he has the ADHD, but his ADHD is different on top of that. You give him a task, he's going to get it done. He's going to get it done. He's going to excel in math and science. Whereas my other son with the ADD, he, he, it takes him a while. It's going to take him a while to get it done. He's going to have to do it a couple of times, but he's always say, "But mom, I never give up. I'm never going to give up." And that has been his story. It's going to take him much longer to get it done compared to my other son. Both of them are smart. Both of them are doing well in school, but however, the challenges have been different.
Yes.
And once we've identified those challenges, because to be honest, with my second child, we really didn't discover the ADD and ODD until his ninth grade year.
Mm,
And now with the support and like I say, looking at the whole child, I'm beginning to see him come through this differently. because he's
Right.
getting the support that he needs.
So, who would benefit from the book?
Parents, parents will benefit from the book because the book is actually showing the parent how the child how you okay, now I see what's going on with my child, now I see what's going on. So teachers will benefit from the book, caregivers, school counselors, and anyone that interact with children who learn and think differently. It helps children in the end. Reading this book and being able to communicate with the child of interest, it helps the children to feel understood while giving the adults in their lives the practical insight into how to support with patience, compassion, and encouragement.
Awesome. So we're gonna break it down just a little bit more when it comes to the book. Can you share ways Jalen had to learn to shine just as he is?
Mm-hmm. um he throughout the story, Jalen begins to understand that he does not have to become someone else to be successful. Okay. He learns to embrace his creativity, his energy, and curiosity in a unique way of thinking. So instead of always comparing to others, he discovers strategies that help him to learn and focus and express himself more effectively. His journey is about self-acceptance, confidence, and he learns that his difference are part of what makes him unique and special, and that he can succeed and build upon his strength. Um, and I can share from my lived experience with my oldest son. Um, for a long time he did feel different,
Hmm.
especially in that middle school age frame. He really felt different. And he would say why it takes me longer to get stuff, like why it takes me longer. I would look at his backpack and his back and parents and educators that deal with children that are ADHD, they can relate to this. He never wanted to throw anything away in his backpack.
Mm.
And the backpack, even he go the whole semester with everything in the backpack. He would move on to the second semester. Everything is still in the backpack. And then sometimes when we started the new school year, he was still wanting to hold to everything that was in the backpack because he felt like he was missing something. He needed it. Everything was important to him. But he has learned over time that now he do release those items. He know how to release those items. But over time, he has learned that he has to organize differently. His strategies are different from someone else.
Right, right, and that learning to what are some of the when parents are trying to adjust to that, what are some ways you could be patient with the child?
Yes, and being patient is key. Encourage. You should develop active listening skills, positive communication. You show strength based on support and patience and understanding, and you want to collaborate to problem solve. So you want to be able to have conversations with your student or your child and have them share ways that y'all come together and agree upon what that problem solving looks like. So the book reminds adults that connection comes from before correction. Connection comes before correction. When children feel safe and supported and understood, they are more they are more apt to open and to learn and to grow.
I like what you said, and I would like to see if you can give like somewhat an example You
Mm-hmm.
said connection comes
Mm-hmm.
before correction. So,
Yes.
what would that look like?
So, as a parent, especially when you're starting off, and you're discovering, I know for me personally, like I'm going to always go back to my lived experience. My son was displaying this at a very young age, and we were like kindergarten, first grade. And at that time, that's the time when you have to sit at the table and you do one-on-one on schoolwork, right? Because they're learning their math, they're learning spelling words, they're doing all those things that you have to sit and you have to learn. So those were some struggles for me in the beginning, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because his brain is constantly working. Do I want to sit here this long? So I had to connect with him. I had to meet him. I had to connect with him and say, maybe for one child, they can sit at this table for a whole hour and do work. But for my son, we have to take bits and pieces,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I had to connect with him the way he learned, the way he studied at that young age. And at that point, that's when correction starts beginning, because now we're able to correct. We're taking this in pieces. You're not going to be able to sit here for 30 minutes straight and do work. We
Right.
might have to sit here for 10 minutes. And that's a long time for parents after they've worked all day and they have to come home and they have to cook, and then you have to do the
But
schoolwork. You have to
that
sit.
makes sense because I experienced that. I was a caregiver
Mhm,
over to my great nephews, but that makes sense because I had one where we had to do that. Like,
mhm,
we had to take it in bits and pieces, and sometimes just like the overwhelming of looking at a whole page and where we
mhm.
have to
Yes.
cover up, like, okay, let's cover up this part of the test, because even that was like test anxiety. Like, let's cover up
Yes.
part of this, let's focus on one and two, then after we get through one and two, then we can uncover, and focus on the next. So the attention span, their focus is different, but I wish, you know, early on that we can like definitely learn more, parents, teachers, educators, whoever, just how to be more
Mhm,
patient with
mhm,
it, when it comes to that connection comes before correction, and because a lot of times, if you're not used to it, you're gonna no, you're gonna sit down, you're
mhm.
gonna get this work done, and I say it right now,
Exactly.
right now.
Yes. Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
and we don't really understand what it is, what's going on in their brains, or how their
Mhm.
brains are wired or created, and not to break them down even more, but how we can,
Mhm.
like you said, like the book says, Jalen's amazing super fast brain, a story about ADHD and the power of being different. So I'm going to read
Mhm.
this on Amazon. I have it pulled up. I put the link in the comments. Purchase the
Mhm.
book. Purchase the book. Jalen's amazing super fast brain, a story about ADHD and the power of being different. I also let people know if you are on like a tablet or a laptop. I do know if you're on your laptop, you can read sample, and I'll show you that in just a second. Jalen's thoughts zoom like race cars. His ideals sparkle like fireworks, and his feet love to wiggle all day long. But at school, sitting still feels impossible.
Mhm.
And when others do not understand, Jalen begins to wonder if something is wrong with him.
Mhm.
With the help of a loving grandmother, a kind counselor, and teachers who learn alongside of him, Jalen discovers that his fast brain is not a problem; it's a superpower. Through
Mhm.
movement, support, and understanding, Jalen learns new ways to shine, just as he is. I love it, and
Mhm.
yes, and if you scroll down, well, I'm going to click on the read samples. How many chapters is in the book?
It's a children's book.
Oh, okay, okay,
So
okay,
it's a children's book. It's a
okay.
children's book.
So
Mhm.
I'm scrolling through the book. This is the read samples on Amazon, and you will see about the authors.
Mhm.
All right. So, is there anything else that you would like to share about the book and how it can, one, bring awareness and two, support, those who are like, have children or other people in their homes that may be experiencing the super fast brain?
Mhm. 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 What I would like to share is really much, as it states, the motivating and supporting the child. And you made a valid point. We don't, when we like sit here, get that, da, 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 let's do it. We building anxiety in that child by doing that. So we're causing that child to develop anxiety skills, anxiety that they will carry on through the rest of their life. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's important to be supportive, to that child and for their learning. Because what we're doing with them right now, we're doing the best we can as a parent. We're sitting there, we're working with them, we want them to learn, but we have to do it in a gentle way, in a supportive way. Because this the child is going to take tests for the rest of their lives. Now, for a long time, at least all the way through high school. And we don't want them to have these test anxieties. We don't want them to not believe that they could do more,
Right.
that they can go further in their life. So the patient is very key,
Yeah.
being supportive.
Yeah. That. So, what would be, if you can maybe share maybe three beginning ways of showing that support?
Establish consistent routines. First of all, sit down and have a conversation. Even if your child is in kindergarten, first grade, sit down and develop a plan. Make them a part of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And maybe it might just, depending on the age of the child, maybe it's just 3 items that's a part
Mm-hmm.
of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So with that, you're able to establish consistent routines because y'all sat and y'all planned it together. Okay. And if the child, get off a little bit, you could come back and say, remember, we sat and we discovered this plan together. We worked on this together. And you share with me that when it's time to do homework, this is what it's gonna look, this is how you want it to look. So providing clear and simple instructions. Break down larger tasks into smaller steps. As you stated, if you're studying for a whole test, you stated cover up half the test and work on a few questions at a time.
Yes.
You always celebrate the efforts and the progress.
Yes.
In younger age, we do remember the stickers. You give them a sticker
Mm-hmm.
and they get stickers for earning, so it could be something like that. That, with the older kids, um like middle school age kids, it might be an ice cream treat or something, like it doesn't have, want to say, it doesn't have to be tied to money. Okay. It could be, and that child could, y'all can work together to think of what those rewards would look like, but it doesn't have to be tied to money. It could be other things that they can earn these rewards for. Always use positive reinforcement. um, Create a structured environment. I remember at that time, the kitchen table was always the place to work.
Mm-hmm.
I always had the little paper, the pencil, like a very structured environment. And it was that quiet time that we sat in the kitchen and did work.
Yes.
Um, and practicing patience and understanding. The patience is the very important key.
Yes. I listen. You you actually, a couple of these things I had to implement.
Mhm.
And one
Yes.
of them, as you were talking, came back to my memory about the um the one structure, routine and consistency, because
Hmm.
in making them a part of the plan. Because I had
Yes.
one where we basically had to discuss. We was trying to figure out like what is going on here. So I'm a consistent person anyway, routine anyway. However, when it came to school,
Mhm.
he didn't feel like he knew what was next.
Mhm.
So we had to basically put a tapes when we figured it out after we had discussions and came together, because they be like that used to tell me I'm in the wrong career because they have to call me and they be like, okay, this is what's going on, you're the only one can figure him out or know him and blah blah
Mhm.
blah. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I said one thing that I do know, that he has to know what's next because of
Mhm.
his background. You see what I'm
Exactly.
saying? And he has to know what's next. So once we start creating that schedule for him to know what's next, that helped 100%.
Mhm.
Also, like lunch options, because
Mhm.
one thing, if this individual expect to open this ice cream to be like an ice cream sandwich, and it's supposed to be
Mhm.
vanilla in the
Mhm.
middle, and
Yes.
you open it and it's chocolate in the middle, it's about to be a whole temper tantrum.
Exactly. Yes.
So we need to know, like, what is his lunch options? Like, he needs to know what when he go in
Yes.
this line,
Mhm.
what his options are in advance. Because we might get a whole temper tantrum in line, because in
Exactly.
my head I'm thinking, oh, it's gonna be pizza today. And it ain't
Yes.
pizza today.
Uh-huh.
So, and then again, back to the consistency of sitting at the kitchen table.
Mhm.
I used to call my kitchen table the red table, because this is where
Mhm.
we come not only to eat but to have
Mhm.
conversations. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I had
Mhm.
to also learn the unstructured time,
Yes.
because I'm pretty much a strict person, routine, consistent. I'm pretty strict. Like I was telling you the example I had earlier today, but I had to learn through another teacher, that we
Mhm.
have to allow this unstructured time, and the time where when we having certain conversations, to be vulnerable, to be open, that it's nothing that
Mhm.
we're gonna hold against them.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like, okay, what happened today, and just kind of,
Oh yeah.
unfold
Mhm.
all that type of thing, and not hold it against, I'm not gonna, don't hold anything against me, I'm not gonna hold anything against you,
Mhm.
right? Type of thing.
Mhm.
And whether we have a moment where we have to cry, or
Mhm.
they gotta scream and yell at me and say, you know, you won't let me do this, or whatever,
Oh yes.
I can't hang out with my friends,
You
or
get that a lot
my
with the old
friends
when they
gotta be
get
in the
older.
house they
Mhm.
my friends don't have to be in the house at 8:30, and I gotta be in the
Mhm.
house at 8 o'clock, whatever that may be. Vent,
Mhm.
let loose, let it go. But again, creating that, creating that early, like you said, them simple, starting with those simple instructions, and starting with those incentives. Like, even we had an incentive where I end up creating a chart and putting that chart on, like, on the bedroom
Mhm.
door, right?
Yes.
And so
Mhm.
they had little notes that they had to bring home every day from school. So, we are based off more than one thing, but that requires a sticker. It might have been like a
Mhm.
red sticker, blue sticker, whatever sticker. And at the end of that week, we count those stickers. Like, if you got more yellow
Mhm.
stickers or more blue stickers or whatever that case may be, we created a little gift box. Like, I actually let them pick out what they wanted to be in the gift box. Like,
Yes.
we went
Uh-huh.
to, whether it was a Dollar Tree or, nothing super expensive, like you said, simple. Like,
Mhm.
what do you want to put in this gift box? And then sometimes, like you said, sometimes it might be ice cream. Let's take an
Mhm.
ice cream trip, or you know, visit. Down, like, if the summertime, like the little sprinkler, whatever. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
allowing them to be a part of those decision making makes a difference as well. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
And so,
I
if
remember that
anyone would
too.
like to, oh, I'm sorry. Go
Mhm.
ahead.
No, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say, if you would like to share, if anyone would like to contact you, follow you, or your partners, the other authors, or where can they contact you or follow you?
Well, I have a organization. It's called Ed Youth Foundation, and I also have Ed Youth Counseling. So on that, that's my overall practice where I hope I support the whole child. I'm listed as Elizabeth Malveaux-Hudson on LinkedIn, and my Facebook page is Dr. Elizabeth Malveaux-Hudson as well.
Awesome, awesome. And so, if you don't mind after the show, to go back in the comments to just put your link on how, when it
Sure.
comes to your programs, how they can make contact with you.
Okay.
All right. Well, we truly appreciate everyone for joining us today. Again, you can purchase the book on Amazon. I put the link in the comments. And you all have a great evening. See you later.
Thank
Bye.
you.